right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro. So glad you could join us. Coming up here in just a few minutes, we will be joined by Freddie Roach, Hall of Fame trainer for Manny Pacquiao. Big fight this weekend. Manny Pacquiao, Thurman. Thurman undefeated. So this is one of those fights where you look at it and you say to yourself, you know, is youth going to prevail, right? Is youth going to win? And has Manny Pacquiao slowed down? Again, Thurman's 29-0 with 22 knockouts. This is a nice fight. Pacquiao is 40 years old. So, Ron, when you look at this fight, and I know, by the way, you were at the Grand Rivals today. What do you make of this fight?
I can barely hear, number one, because of the music, the awful music that was blaring in the lobby at the MGM today, which, anyway, that's another issue, but no need for that. Let's put it in a different area, not make the media suffer through that for 3 hours through all the fighter intros. But I did talk to both fighters. Thurman, now it's not to be confused. He's not Thurman Thomas, the running back for the Buffalo Bills. The 4 missed Scott Norwood field goals. It's different Thurman. Okay, just checking.
Different one.
Having talked to him today, my question to Manny, and I did a one-on-one interview with Manny Pacquiao today too. The last question I asked him was, "Come on, Manny, 40 years old. Are you slowing down at all?" And he looked at me, sort of got a smile on his face, and said, "No, there's no slowing down. I'm going full. There's no signs of anything slowing down." And Fred Sternberger worked with him, and Freddie Roach was not there, but and Fred sort of laughed and smiled, and they took the question in the context that it was meant. I wasn't ripping him, but at the same time going, okay, it's one point. When you're in the smaller weight classes, speed is more of a factor. It's not George Foreman is a heavyweight when you're 42 and you just have a powerful right hand and you can win a fight. You got to go on speed, and the speed starts to diminish. I think it's going to be a good fight this weekend. I'm looking forward to the fight as a good classic matchup between young guy, new guy, undefeated. And by the way, Manny's fighting for the belt. Manny doesn't have a title. He's trying to beat Thurman to win the title. A lot of Filipinos. This won't surprise you, Brian. Big Filipino crowd. And then the announcer kept saying, okay, we got who wants Manny Pacquiao? The crowd goes nuts. Who wants Thurman? Crickets.
Nobody.
And they said, okay, there's going to be a few people come up. They got a long drive from Florida.
Okay, so let me ask you.
Forget the fight from Manila.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Let me ask you this. Do you think there is still a possibility,
yes,
if Pacquiao wins this fight, which he very well may, that we could see another Pacquiao-Mayweather fight?
I hope not. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Anything's possible in boxing. The only thing impossible is that Marvin Hagler won't come back. That's the one boxer that retired that I wished would have kept coming back and didn't. So that's the only thing I'm banking on now at this point. I've given up on Marvin Hagler returning to the ring. But do I think? Oh, yes. I think it's possible. Sure, it's possible. Conor McGregor is even talking about trying to fight Mayweather again. Okay. Money Mayweather he's got to fuel the machine, man.
Conor just dropped the fight today against Masvidal.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Is that happening?
Yeah, that's happening.
The rematch. He does not win that. Conor McGregor does not win that fight. There's no way once he gets on the ground that Conor McGregor can beat him. That was evident in their first fight. So I'm a little surprised, disappointed. I don't know how you sell that. Conor's, are they going to go with MMA rules or it's going to be MMA rules? And once Conor's on the ground, he does not get out of that great boxer's clinch. Doesn't happen. So,
well, just to go over what we were just talking about with Pacquiao Mayweather, I'm going to say right now, when there's that much money to be made,
yeah,
I absolutely see that it could happen. I'm not saying it's going to.
Especially if it's a really nice showing this weekend by Manny Pacquiao.
Well, that's what I was leading to. Yes, I agree. I think it's very important that Pacquiao wins this fight. I don't know if he does. Thurman is a hell of a fighter. This is a good fight. This is a fight that I think you can be excited about.
I think this is a fight that will probably go the distance. I like over 11.
So you don't see a knockout.
I don't see a knockout. I see two guys. I think Manny has the stronger legs. I think he's got the faster hands. I believe that Manny Pacquiao wins this fight. I like the minus 160, but I agree it's going to be a very good fight. Much better than the fight against Adrian
Broner. He destroyed
crap-talking Broner, who absolutely embarrassed himself talking to Al Bernstein the way he did.
No, Adrian Broner is a disgrace. He's a wannabe Floyd Mayweather. He's not 10% of the fighter Floyd Mayweather was, and probably still is. He is all talk and doesn't get it done in the ring. I don't understand why he keeps getting fights. I don't want to watch him fight. He sucks as far as I'm concerned. He is the 12th man on an NBA bench. That's what he is.
He's almost a troll at this point. Like, he doesn't even take himself seriously. The way that he dresses, the way that he handles himself, the way that he is just horrendous in the ring.
And I agree.
It's hard to take him seriously.
The way he spoke to Al Bernstein just shows you he is a classless buffoon. That's what he is.
It also shows you racism can come from any race.
Well, yeah. I mean, anybody would say that. Racism could come anywhere. I mean, yeah. I don't care what the color of your skin is. There's racists everywhere out there. But the way he conducts himself is unbelievably terrible.
The Pacquiao support was fun to see today, and when he comes to Vegas,
was it a good turnout?
Oh no, it was a great turnout for the. They're in the lobby of the MGM. Again, I mentioned the loud music, and my head's still spinning from that. But it was nice to see that probably half filled. When I say half filled, that lobby at the MGM, most people know what I'm talking about. When you go in Park and Valet and you go into that lobby, turn right, and you walk in, and they had a ring there in the center. And jam-packed, I say half-filled with fans, which is there's a lot of people to put in there, and most of them were fun Filipinos having a good time, looking forward to just catching a glimpse of Manny Pacquiao. It is interesting to see that classic Pacquiao. You see that with a handful of fighters here. Conor McGregor, you see the Irish come out when he fights. It is so much fun to see them come to Las Vegas, enjoy Las Vegas, have a good time, spend money here. That's what we're all about. But still have a fun time in Vegas, and I love seeing that happen here in the city.
So let's talk about the interviews. You spoke to Thurman and Pacquiao today.
Yeah.
How did those go? Did they say anything in these interviews that surprised you?
No, nothing remarkable. Thurman, one thing I asked him as he was pulling away like walking, they were like the last question I asked him was, okay, do you realize you're going into the Lion's Den in the sense that the crowd is going to be against you, 100% against you? And he said, he gave the good answer, but he's very animated and a very good interview, by the way, as a boxer. And he says, no, absolutely, I'm going to use that to my strength, and that's what I'm going to feel like. I don't mind being that. I don't mind being the guy that's going to have the crowd against me. I get that. He's not going to have many people coming from Florida rooting for him in this fight, although he's such a good fighter, such a good boxer, and I don't see any way that Freddie Roach will allow Manny Pacquiao to take him lightly. So that has me thinking Manny seems serious about this fight, rightly so, and Freddie is the right guy to prepare him.
Well, I hope it's a good fight. I'm going Saturday night, and I'm going because look, we don't know how many more fights Manny Pacquiao has. He is a legend. He's a future Hall of Famer, no doubt about that, and pretty good undercard. So I think it's going to be a fun fight. It all comes down to, Thurman. How badly does he want to win? I mean, Thurman's the better fighter right now. I think hands down he's the better fighter. Now, how much speed does Pacquiao have? I don't know. It's going to come down to that.
His hands and his feet look, but again, he was fighting a really putrid Adrian Broner. It's tough to use it as a barometer, but he looked much better.
Yeah. Adrian Broner looked terrible. So, but this is a whole different level. We can all agree on that. Thurman is a much, much more established fighter.
Yeah. No doubt about it. This is going to be a good fight.
Yeah. Keith Thurman has a knockout punch. That's one of the things Manny's got to watch out for. He's 29-0, got 22 knockouts.
Speaking of knockouts, I saw Pacquiao.
He has a knockout punch.
I was at the fight when Marquez knocked Pacquiao out. That was insane.
There you go. No,
yeah.
And we've seen him get knocked out before. He's not in the ring against Floyd Mayweather. Okay, Floyd Mayweather Jr. was a safe fight. Floyd's not going to knock you out. Floyd hasn't knocked anybody out in 10 years. Don't count the Conor McGregor. That was a TKO, but he hasn't knocked anybody out. I think I'm right on my math here in 10 years. Ricky Hatton, I'm going to go back to that was the last time he had a real good fight in the ring and a real good challenge and was able to come up with that. But anyway, Keith Thurman has the ability to knock Manny Pacquiao out, so he better be careful. He's got 22 knockouts in 29 fights and is undefeated, so that part Pacquiao's the favorite, so yeah, you still got to lead with the favorite and the experience of 40 years old, but boy, what you like about a fight is you can make a case for either fighter, and I can with this fight.
Who wins? Give me your prediction.
I got Manny Pacquiao in a decision, so I'm sorry I'm boring with that. No, it's going to be Pacquiao's going to stay away. Pacquiao's smart enough to know to stay away from Thurman in that sense and not let himself get.
I agree with that.
He'll fight a Floyd Mayweather type fight. I'll go there. It won't be an exciting fight. He'll fight a Floyd Mayweather type fight, stay away from Thurman, and win the fight.
Thurman
on
will
points.
lose his first fight of his career.
Win on points. It might be good enough for a rematch. Okay, now I'm talking rematch, but Pacquiao's not going to knock him out, and If it's a knockout, Thurman can do it if Pacquiao's not careful.
You agree with that, JD?
I like decision. I like minus 160 Pacquiao to win the fight in 12 rounds. Absolutely. I don't think it's going to be.
Hold on. Is it minus 160 for him to win?
It's minus 160 for him to win.
What are the odds on him to win in a decision?
I think the over-under is minus 125 for the over and 11.5 at this point.
So that's what you like.
I'm thinking it'd probably be plus 150 for both as a parlay. It's just my guess.
Fair enough. You agree with that, Ron?
Yeah. No. Yes, I would go there. You know, if you want to take a chance, if you're a gambler and you want to take a shot, take a shot with Thurman on a knockout. Thurman will not win a decision. How about that?
That I agree with 100%.
Thurman will not win a decision. This is the analytics of this. Thurman will not win a decision, but take Thurman by a knockout if you want to go there for a wild card in this. Yeah,
How about this? How about take Thurman in a knockout and take the over 11.5? You're not going to lose both, right? Pacquiao's not going to knock him out.
That's tough math for me. I need to have I don't have a Texas Instrument. Are they still around, T.I.?
I don't know if they are.
Yeah, I don't know if they are.
I don't know. What's the best fight you ever saw in person here in Vegas?
Hagler-Hearns.
That was the best.
I'll go there. That's that.
Because you've seen quite a few fights.
Yeah, it was third in 1986. I'm third row. I'm sitting there at the fight and looking behind me, and I see Steve win with Rocky Balboa. I think his real name is Sly Stallone, if I'm not mistaken. And I sat there and I had to pinch myself and go, I'm sitting here in the media section. I got better seats.
Was Steve also accompanied by his masseuse that gives him happy endings?
No, I did not see them, but I did see Steve win and Sly Stallone behind me, and I thought,
Sly's
this is
a small
crazy.
guy.
I'm this kid, and I'm a sports guy at Channel 13 at the time.
Was this during the Rambo years?
This was during this is 86.
First Blood?
It was First Blood. Rambo. Rocky was still in full swing. And Hagler-Hearns, because Marvin Hagler, he would come out at Caesar's Palace, outdoors at Caesar. Nothing beat it. I mean, it brought Fan Man out, Jim Miller, during the Holyfield Bow fight.
That guy committed suicide, didn't he?
We have lost him, Jim Miller, yes. I don't know if it was suicide, but he's no longer with it. It was from Henderson. And
I thought he committed suicide.
Anyway, he might have. Yeah. You might be right about that, but died at a way too young age. But anyway, so I'm saying.
Did you ever interview him, by the way?
Outdoors? No. I would have loved to, but he went all over the world flying that little prop glider thing around. The craziness.
And you were at the fights where this happened.
Oh, when all this happened, yes, outdoors at Caesar's Palace.
What is it? Okay, so explain this to me.
Well, let me go here. How great that fight was. Hagler would come into the ring with a purple cape on, with a look, and he would take the cape off and he'd start pounding himself with his fist on his forehead, bam, 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 with both hands. And I'm sitting there going, this is the way you get ready for a fight if you're Hagler. The first round was the greatest round of boxing I've ever seen. And the entire crowd stood up. Even the media section stood up and cheered after round one. And we're a bunch of cronies that don't freaking cheer for anything. And then it went 3. You knew this wasn't going to go the distance. It went midway through the third round. Finally, Hagler gets the knockout against Tommy Hearns. Hagler-Hearns. I'm going to go there. That's the mountaintop from there for those
What's
guys.
the best Tyson fight you ever saw here in Vegas?
I liked Peter McNeely when he ran at him and got just floored right off the bat.
Peter McNeely, that was a horrible fight.
It was horrible.
That was like a 2-minute fight.
No, long. That might be long. I'm laughing at it.
That guy was a joke.
Best Tyson fight.
And do you remember Peter McNeely after that fight? And he made a couple million. He did like these pizza commercials, and like he didn't last very long. You think that money's gone?
There was never a great. You talk about great Tyson fights here in town. I don't know when he won the title at the Hilton Hotel. Trevor Burbick, that was sort of exciting. I talked to Muhammad Ali after the fight.
Were you at the Spinks fight, the Tyson Spinks fight?
That was in New York. That was in New York. But I was at Caesar's Palace watching that fight. They had a special theater set up in their showroom, and I like this story. I'm sitting next to Patrick Ewing. We're in the booth together watching the fight, and Patrick Ewing, NBA star, and he says, before the fight's even begun, he looks at me, looks at the screen, looks at me, looks at the screen. He said, Spinks is done. I said, Spinks is done. He says, look into his eyes. He's scared to death. He is scared to death.
That's what Patrick Ewing said to you. That's
Patrick
funny.
Ewing said to me, I said, wow, it'll be interesting to see. Yeah, I say, but he saw something in Spinks' eyes that I didn't see, but it was fear. I've watched it since, and you can see that fear. You watch that. Go to YouTube.
I see that.
I know what
you're talking about.
Fear.
Because I see that in JD's eyes every time he has to walk into my car and sit in my car. It's the look of fear.
The look of fear.
Yeah.
Same thing. But it was an uppercut a minute and a half into the round. An uppercut Tyson took him out. I'm trying to think of the fight. Oh, Trevor Berg was it was a pretty good fight that the night Tupac got killed in '96.
Did you see Tupac that night?
I didn't see him that night, but I've seen the video since and followed up. And
you also spoke with people in the hospital, right?
Yes, Dale Carrison that night, who is now retired, who was the head of UMC that night, and brought Tupac in, and he said Tupac said a few things to him. One of the things he said to him was, "Doc, am I going to be okay? I'm going to be okay." And Carrison knew that he wasn't going to survive, but he still encouraged him and said, "No, we're gonna fight for you. We're gonna take care of you. We're gonna do the best we can for you." But that was all that he had said to him. Then 6 days later, he finally passed at UMC. But the outside with Tupac, outside of University Medical Center, there in Charleston and where's that at, near Rancho, and the crowds just grew night after night after night there for the tributes for Tupac to see what happened. I think I'm right about 6 days later. But that's an interesting question. Tyson, I don't know he never had great classic fights here. was the Holyfield fight in '97, November '97, was that a great fight? I don't know, it wasn't a great fight. He sucked, but he bit Holyfield's part of his ear off. It became a legendary fight. Look on YouTube and you can see our coverage that night. And I loved our coverage that night and put it up on YouTube because it was a historical night here in town. So that was a big fight. But the good question, and I don't know what the best Tyson fight, because he didn't really have great long fights. They were knockouts. It was interesting dealing with Tyson over the years, and I covered his career from start to finish here in town, from his first fight to his last fight here. And it's he was bipolar. And you didn't know whether he took his meds or not. There'd be times where I would do an interview with him, and he'd say, "Ron, can I tell you something, Ron? Come over, bring your boys over, Johnny Tacos, and watch me work out. You come over and bring the boys over. And so I never did. I should have brought my boys over because he had an open invite. And then at other times when he'd look at me and go, when I'd ask him a tough question, he said, "Why are you such a smart ass? Why you being such a smart ass?" I said, "That's me. That's my style. Why you?" And so, sorry, my impersonation's not real good.
With Wobbin.
But
listen, can I just interject here real quick about Tyson, real quick?
Okay.
And then I'll let you finish. My thoughts on Mike Tyson. First of all, I do not think he raped that woman.
No,
I do not think he's a
I agree with you. Yes.
I appreciate Mike Tyson these days for a lot of different reasons. Number one, I think he's a good father. Number two, he appears to be a really good husband, too. Number three, this is not a stupid guy, okay? People who listen, I've interviewed Mike Tyson a bunch of times as well. This is not a dumb guy. He's actually quite intelligent. He had some anger issues that he dealt with throughout his life. He grew up in a very difficult situation. But I'm happy he's doing well for himself now. That is a guy that I've rooted for over the years. Now, has he behaved badly in certain situations? Sure. But one of the most exciting fighters to watch. You never knew what you were going to get in the ring with Mike Tyson, number one. And I'm really happy that he's doing well now. He seems to be happy. Whether he's on medication or not, I think he got totally screwed over by Don King and a lot of people around him back in the day. People took advantage of him, including, in my opinion, that woman who claimed she was raped. I do not believe, even though he was convicted, I get all that, but I do not believe that he is a rapist. I don't.
Well, her testimony in that trial in Indianapolis was she walked out of the room, the bathroom. She looked and saw a naked Mike Tyson to her right and a naked Mike Tyson on the bed. And she could have exited the door, the hotel room, to her left, and she did not. She decided to go towards him. Anyway, that doesn't give him the right to rape her. I get that. But it was 2:00 in the morning. If I were to tell my daughter, I would say, do not go to a hotel room with Mike Tyson at 2 in the morning.
Probably not a good idea.
Don't go to a professional boxer's hotel room.
Here's what I think happened.
In the wee hours of the morning.
That's
Here's what I think happened. The same thing with Kobe Bryant. Here's what I think happened. I think there were two similar circumstances in that. And again, this is just my opinion. It was very rough sex. It might have been painful sex. And in the middle of the act, yes, it is possible that one or both of those women said stop. And maybe he didn't stop. I don't know. Now, is that rape? Probably. But I think that at least in Mike Tyson's situation, I don't think it was.
Yeah, I just because of the testimony in the trial of what happened there with her disclosure that she did that and she went the other. He spent 3 years in jail. Interesting. I'm going to go here. I could give a lot of different stories we covered with Mike Tyson over the years and things that happened right before he was going to fight Holyfield in 91 before he went to prison, which I would have loved to have seen. That would have been Tyson in his prime because post-prison, Tyson was not Mike Tyson. He was set to fight Evander Holyfield, and it was set at, I know the news conference were at Caesar's Palace. I don't know where the fight was going to be. Might have been in the Thomas Mack Center, might have been, but anyway, where the fight was scheduled. But 3 weeks before the fight, I get a phone call at the sports office at Channel 13. Ron, Mike Tyson's here. He's at the office. He's got bad ribs. He got hit during training. He's being inspected right now by Dr. Higgins, late Dr. Higgins. He's no longer alive, so I'm not violating anything. But it would have been a HIPAA violation back then for me to get this information. But I got it from somebody inside. Send a camera over there. Get there. Tyson's walking out of the hotel, out of the doctor's office. By the way, has a sucker in his mouth. Has a like you get at the doctor's office, you go to the doctor's office, you get a sucker for the doctor. He has a sucker, and I asked the reporter, said, real quick, ask him how's he doing, what's he getting. I'm doing fine. Everything's fine with the fight. So I get some inside information.
I like your Tyson impersonation.
I get some inside information. It's a broken rib or badly bruised rib 3 weeks before the fight. So I go on air and say the fight's in jeopardy right now. He doesn't show up for training for a couple of more days. Nobody else wants to do the story. Nobody covers. ESPN mentions us as a source and says the fight might be postponed. Indeed, the fight was postponed. Don King at the postponement news conference came to me and says, I got to tell you, man, you're quite the reporter. Holy mackerel, how'd you get that? You got that story? How'd you find out? I'm not going to give you sources, but it confirmed the story was true that we had done. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, because I would have loved to have seen Tyson Holyfield fight before he went to prison, because post-prison, that was not Mike Tyson. That was somebody else.
I love the stories, Ron. I know that we will hear more of them from you, but we got to take a quick break.
What?
When we come back, a man who is paying people $100 for video of parents acting like lunatics at kids' sporting events. He was on Good Morning America. This guy is doing a very good job. His name is Brian Barlow. He's going to be joining us next year on the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN.